Hi, I'm Mike Moscolo. I'd like to talk to you today about how not to be a leader and how to be a leader. What you've said is that you have an educational community filled with parents and teachers and board members, and you're interested in finding ways to cultivate leaders and leadership throughout that community. I'm not sure exactly what the problems are that you're trying to address. Nonetheless, I think that there's a lot that we can say. Why don't we start first by talking about how not to lead? And I think we all have a lot of experience with this question about people who are leading in ways that are probably not very effective. And the way in which that happens is usually what we have is a boss. And what the boss is trying to do is to get other people to buy into my vision. Now, when we try to do that, we're going to have problems immediately. Why? Because people have needs that they need to have met. They have voices. They have ideas about what the problems are. They have ideas about what the solutions are. And when somebody who's the boss is trying to implement a vision that is of his or her own making, people are going to be instantly dissatisfied, and their needs are not likely to be met. Leadership is not about trying to get people to do things that you want them to do. It's quite the opposite. Leadership is about problem solving. Particularly, it's about how to mobilize people, to bring people together for the purpose of solving problems, and to bring people together for the collaboration, for the purpose of collaborating together to solve problems. I want to talk about how that can be done. So first and foremost, let me erase our boss and talk about another way to think about leadership, which is something I like to call leadership for collaborative problem solving. And collaboration is what's important here. Collaboration. A boss, a leader, cannot make things happen by him or herself. A leader has to bring people together. The most important knowledge that you have to make that happen is people knowledge. If you don't have people knowledge, you cannot lead. If you cannot find ways to address the needs of the people who you are leading, there will be no leadership and it will fail. How can we promote collaborative problem solving? Well, let's start with a model of leadership that I like to call continuously developing leadership. What we have here is an organization that is going to try to lead by investing in people for the purpose of solving problems. How might that take place? Here. A good leader knows that here's all the people who are involved in the process that I'm leading. Leader knows right away, the first thing that I have to do, actually that's not true. One thing that I have to do is I have to cultivate some type of a shared vision. If it's in education, some shared vision about what it means to teach and learn. Some shared vision of what the problems that we're trying to solve are, what constitutes a given level of learning, how we're going to teach, how we're going to learn, that sort of thing. It's not done all by oneself. In fact, the way it's done is what you need to do, it seems to me, is to bring together as many stakeholders, as many people, I hate that word stakeholders, as many people as possible for the purposes of collaboration. When you collaborate, and I'll talk about that in a few seconds, what happens after the collaboration is done is a process of monitoring any solutions that the collaboration has produced. This is one of the biggest problems we have in education and in business, in fact, is that we put forth solutions, but we don't change them. We put them in and they stay there for years until a catastrophe happens, and then we begin to change them. No, true leadership, good leadership is iterative. It's about continuously asking, are we doing the right thing? Bringing people together continuously, are we doing the right thing? And then we monitor the effectiveness of the solutions. If they're not the way we want them, we revise them. And as we revise them, after that happens, the process iterates again. Any problems come up, bring the people together for collaborative problem solving. Monitor the solutions, revise them, and keep moving forward. Now, what we have here is the basic cycle for how to create any organization that's constantly developing under a collaborative leadership. Let me talk to you about how to make the collaboration happen, how to actually bring the people together, because this is the most important thing that an effective leader can do. What do you do once you bring the people together? Well, let's take an example, okay? Let's take the example that we have a problem. A leader comes to the community with a simple problem, if it's an educational situation. And that problem, let's say, is very simply that our students aren't learning to the degree that we want them to learn. Not enough learning is taking place. Problem, not enough learning. Now, what happens when we pose the problem is, quite frankly, let's put some people here. You've got Bob, you've got Sandy, you have a whole bunch of people, not just four. You've got Kochanska and Sally. And we say, not enough learning is going on. What are we going to do? The second you ask that question, you're going to get a whole bunch of people stating possible solutions to the problem. Bob might say, oh, we need to test students more. Sandy might say, no, we need to train our teachers. Kochanska might say, no, I've heard this notion about the growth mindset. Really, we have to teach our kids how to engage in the growth mindset. And Sally might say, no, what we need to do is we need to pay teachers more. Now, you may be able to do these things. You may be able to do all of them. Maybe some of them are in conflict with each other. What do you do when you see all of these solutions all together? What is a leader to do? Well, the problem here is we've lost right from the beginning. Because what each of these are is a strategy to solve a problem. Each of these is a strategy or a position. And the problem here is that we have already put forth a whole bunch of strategies when we haven't even defined the problem. Here's what a problem is. Here's all these strategies. Every strategy, underneath every strategy, is a need. There's an interest, a concern, a feeling, a fear. The good leader starts not with strategies, but with needs. Always puts needs before strategies. How does it happen? So what are the needs? What are the needs that Bob, Sandy, Kochanska, and Sally have that motivate them to take the positions that they take? Well, Bob's need is, well, if we want people to learn, we have to know what they're learning. And in order to know what they're learning, we need to test them. This is a need. I need to know whether people are learning. This is a strategy. It's a solution. Sandy says we should train our teachers more. Well, what problem is she trying to solve? What's her need? Well, maybe she thinks that good learning requires that teachers have a depth of knowledge. She may know that in Finland, for example, that the teachers have much more training than they do in the United States, or the same is true in many Asian cultures and that sort of thing. And maybe that's her need or her fear. Kochanska comes across and says, wait a second, maybe I don't think it's got something to do with the schools and the teaching. It has to do with the children, she says, and that the children give up too easy. They give up too easily. Maybe they give up too easily because we've always given them praise and reward without having asked them to earn that. They need to cultivate a growth mindset where they see that their efforts, that their abilities come into existence through hard work and effort. She's worried that people give up too easily. That's her need. And Sally says, Sally's need is her concern that teachers are going to leave, good teachers will leave if they are not paid properly. And then, of course, this is just 4 people. In a community, you've got many, 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 many more. We start with the strategies, we're dead. But if we start with the needs, now we've got something. We don't start with the needs. We don't presume that there's any particular any one way of solving a problem. We have each of these needs, and then we ask, what can we do to meet all these needs? Or as many needs as we possibly can. We are able to meet more needs than we think we can. We're always able to do better, especially if we start with needs and not strategies. Now, how can we get people to know, how can we know what our students are learning, while at the same time ensuring that our teachers have a depth of knowledge and that our students are not giving up so easily, and our teachers are compensated properly so that they don't leave? Or no, that's wrong. So that our teachers don't leave. There may be other reasons why people teach rather than money. Yes, they want money, but maybe there's other reasons. That's the whole point of dealing with needs first. There's many solutions to any problem. The second you start off, as we did before, preempting solutions, saying this is the solution that I want without identifying the problem, you've already cornered yourself into a hole. Bad metaphor. Okay, so this is what we've got. I'm not going to go into how you can solve these problems, but there are ways to do it. You can adopt a mastery framework, for example, where kids are constantly comparing what they're learning against a rubric of mastery, of higher and lower, where the teachers are constantly updating their knowledge about higher and lower in a mastery framework. And then as children are operating and working in a mastery framework, they learn that their success is a result of hard work, and then the idea of the growth mindset comes forward, and so on and so on. There's many solutions for any given problem. So, it is important to know that in this approach to leading, that it doesn't just come from the ground up. The leader has something to say as well. And the reason for that is that leader is one of the people in the community, and the leader has his or her own needs, beliefs, problems that they want to have solved. That goes into the mix. And then the process of trying to meet as many needs as possible in an integrated, everybody's needs is possible to meet. You don't have to compromise. The goal is not to compromise. The goal is to try to meet as many needs as possible. When that happens, you've got solutions, and then when you put the solutions in, you evaluate them continuously. Now you've got a continuously developing organization, a continuously developing school system, a continuously developing community, and continuously developing teachers, students, leaders, parents, etc. I'd love to talk with you more about this. I hope that we get a chance to chat. Thank you.